Next, I want to talk about your dealer insurance, and I want to show you how to obtain your required dealer surety bond. First of all, let's talk about dealer insurance. You're probably aware of this. The state of Arizona does require every single motor vehicle being driven on any roadway to be insured, including the vehicles that you hold for resale and are possibly allowing your customers to test drive. So the state does not require you show insurance before you get your license, but the law is very clear. You'll need to have some type of insurance on your inventory before you're buying vehicles at dealer auctions. And many dealer auctions now require you show proof of insurance before you're actually allowed to buy at that dealer auction. So you can get the license without insurance, but once you get your dealer's license and start buying vehicles, you have to have a good insurance policy in effect before you allow customer test drives, or even if you are buying vehicles at dealer auctions. And I do want you to be aware that any dealer that does not maintain financial responsibility could place penalties, including possible license revocation. So let's talk about the different types of dealer insurance. First of all, there's going to be the bare bones dealer liability. Sometimes we just call this a dealer garage liability policy. Dealer liability is just like liability on your own vehicle. Think about this scenario. In a rare scenario that one of your customers wrecks one of your demos into another vehicle, it's going to fix the other person's property. It will never fix your property because it's dealer liability. It never fixes the dealer's property. It fixes other property. This, like if your customer ran into another vehicle. I always recommend this next coverage here, and you might think of this as full coverage, but in our industry, we refer to this as dealer's open lot. Now, dealer's open lot does not cover like a specific amount of vehicles on your lot. It's going to cover a dollar amount. So let's say, for example, you've built up $50,000 worth of inventory on your lot. You need $50,000 worth of open lot coverage. I mean, obviously there's a chance of tornadoes, storms, ice storms, things like that, hailstorms. More than once, I've seen more than one dealer go into financial ruin because they've had their entire inventory wiped out. I've even read cases where dealers will show up at their office the next morning and the office had been broken into and somebody steals all cars off of a lot. I've actually read cases about theft of entire inventory. So you don't ever want to go into financial ruin. You want to make sure as you start building up inventory that you always have enough coverage for that inventory. And that's going to be open lot. Open lot covers a dollar amount. So let's say you've got $50,000 worth of inventory. You need $50,000 worth of open lot coverage. Don't play with fire. Don't go into financial ruin. Make sure that you always have enough coverage on your inventory. Another type of insurance you might look into is called garage keepers. So if you have a garage and there's a possibility that you're repairing a customer's vehicle and maybe you keep that vehicle overnight, that would protect a customer's vehicle if you operate a repair shop. So the easy way for me to remember this, if you keep a garage, you need garage keepers. Errors and omissions would cover you if you, say, for example, made a mistake on paperwork or something like that. You can talk to your insurance company about that. Employment practices would cover you if you hire employees and, say, for example, maybe you weren't paying the correct minimum wage or something like that. Employment practices covers for that. Workers' compensation covers if an employee is injured on the job. So you definitely want to talk to your insurance agent about that. And false pretense is a type of coverage. If somebody buys a vehicle from you under false pretense, say, for example, I come into your dealership and I use a stolen ID to buy a vehicle from you. I bought a vehicle under false pretense, so that would cover you there, okay? Now, there are a few factors that are going to affect your insurance pricing, and number one is going to be your personal driving record. So if you have a great driving record, then you're going to pay lower rates. If you have a horrendous driving record, then you're going to pay higher rates. Here's a big factor right here, dealership ownership experience, okay? You're going to pay the highest rates your first 3 years in business. I can almost guarantee you that. But once you get a license and have had a license for 3 years, that opens up the market to many, many other insurance companies that will give you a quote. So you should see a dramatic reduction in insurance policy pricing once you've got 3 years of experience. But your first 3 years, you are going to pay the highest rates. And by the way, once you have 3 years of experience, if your insurance company does not give you an automatic reduction at that time, I'm going to recommend that you go out and get some more quotes because there's a lot more insurance companies that will quote you once you've had 3 years of experience. As with any insurance policy, it's going to be based on geographic area. So the closer you get to an urban core, the higher your rate's going to go up. So the closer you are to like a downtown Phoenix or Tucson or something like that, the higher rates you're going to be. Now, the more you get into a rural or suburban area, then the lower those rates are going to be. So do please keep that in mind. And it's also, as I stated earlier, based on the number of dealer license plates. That's why I'm always going to recommend that no matter how many dealer plates you qualify for, I always recommend operating with a lower number than what you qualify for, and that can actually keep your rates down. So where are you going to get quotes? You can call your most trusted insurance agent that you've used for years and years. And I don't want to take business away from your trusted insurance agent, but a lot of times an insurance agent that you use for your cars and home, they may not have access to a good dealer insurance policy. And what I have found here, a lot of times, like your insurance agent might give you a quote for $5,000 a year when somebody who specializes in dealer insurance is quoting $600 a year for the same coverage. So I don't ever want to pull business away from your current insurance agent, but a lot of times, if you just go to your family insurance agent, they might be able to find you a dealer policy, but it could be at an exorbitant rate. So I'm always going to recommend that you get a couple of quotes. You can ask other dealers who they use, or you can just do a simple internet search and take a look at this. I just Googled Arizona dealer insurance. You're going to see several companies right there, but I'm going to strongly encourage you to get at least 2 quotes. Get at least 2 quotes. That way you'll kind of get an idea of what the market. I strongly encourage you never just get 1 quote and go for that rate, because there is a multitude of rates that are charged by different types of insurance agents. So do please keep that in mind. But you have to have that policy in effect. In fact, a lot of dealer auctions are now requiring that you bring in proof of insurance before they'll allow you to buy vehicles. So you can get the dealer's license from the state of Arizona before you have insurance, but you've got to have insurance before you start acquiring inventory to resell. So do please keep that in mind. Next, I want to talk about your dealer surety bond requirements. So what is a dealer surety bond? I want to kind of give you an explanation of what a dealer surety bond is and why you are going to be required to have a dealer surety bond. A dealer surety bond just ensures that you're going to operate your business with a very, very high level of ethical standards. And let me give you a real quick scenario when one of these could come into the play of an Arizona dealership. Let's say, for example, you got some old school, unethical guy that was able to get through the fingerprints, and this old school dealer has 3 cars that have defective transmissions, and he sells those 3 vehicles to his customers, and he knows they have defective transmissions, but he never disclosed those defects. Well, he's broken multiple state and federal laws. I mean, obviously, the state's never going to allow that. You have to give full disclosure on your vehicles, and I'll show you how you can do that here in just a little bit. But let's say this old school unethical dealer has been selling all these defective vehicles without disclosing those known defects to the customers. Well, more than likely, those customers are probably going to sue that dealer. And, if the state of Arizona is ever aware of any dealer that's committing ongoing fraudulent sales activity, they're going to have zero tolerance for that, and they're just going to revoke that person's dealer's license. And if there's ever a dealer in a state that has fraudulent sales activity, well, the state's never going to issue that person a license again. Well, think about the scenario. The crooked dealer sells these defective vehicles. The customer sues the dealer. The dealer is convicted of fraudulent sales activity. He loses his dealer's license. He's broke. He's bankrupt. Doesn't have a penny to his name. No matter how broke that dealer is, the customer can come back and get a financial claim on the bond. So it does a couple of things. Number one, it protects consumers from the very small handful of fraudulent dealers operating in the state, but it also ensures that you operate with a high level of ethical standards. My best advice for you, when you're selling a vehicle, just give full disclosure. Let that customer know, say, for example, okay, you're going to take a test drive here. I drove this car the other day. I felt like it was pulling to the left a little bit. I heard a little bit of noise in the rear end. Come on back here. There's a dent here in the back left fender that I want you to be aware of before you take the test drive. And when you shoot every one of your customers straight, you'll see some magical things happen with your new business. You're going to see referrals. You're going to see repeat business. You'll see great online reviews. I predict eventually you'll have entire families that will purchase vehicles from you because they trust you. And you're also going to see that your profits are going to be much, much higher, because studies have actually shown when a customer trusts a dealer, they'll trust more of an investment with that dealer. So think about that scenario. A customer is going to trust a lot more of an investment with you, the honest, ethical dealer, than they do that crooked dealer down the street. So ethics and integrity will take you to the very pinnacle of this industry. So you've got to get a bond to show the state that basically you are going to operate with a high level of ethical standards. So your bond price is going to be determined on your credit score, and there are different amounts based on your licensure type, and I want to show you those right now. Now, if you're going to be a new motor vehicle dealer or a used motor vehicle dealer or a public consignment auction, you need to have a $100,000 bond, okay? If you're going to be a broker, a wholesale auto auction, or a wholesale motor vehicle dealer, then you have to have a $25,000 bond. Or if you're just going to be an automotive recycler, you'll need to have a $20,000 bond. So let's just assume that you're going to be a used motor vehicle dealer and you're going to need to get a $100,000 bond. So is a $100,000 bond going to cost you $100,000? Absolutely no. Absolutely not. I've had so many persons contact me and say, "You mean I got to come up with $100,000?" No. It's the price of the bond, and that is based on your credit score. So I want to do my very best here to show you how to get the cheapest bond quote that you can. So what we have set up here, this is the Automobile Dealer Training Association has a website called dealertraining.org, and you can get a bond quote here, and it will match your credit score with one of over 30 bond carriers. There are different bond carriers that issue bonds based on specific credit scores. So you can go to dealertraining.org. Once again, that's dealertraining.org. You can click on bonds there, and then what you're going to need to do is just scroll down to where it says Arizona Dealer Surety Bond, okay? And what you'll do, when you click that little blue link, I want to give you the heads up. You will need to wait just a couple of seconds before that system loads, okay? And then you're going to check that, yes, this is a bond for the motor vehicle division. Now, here's something I want you to be aware of. They want you to type in your business name. Well, if you have a business name, that's great. You can go ahead and type that in. But if you do not, you can just go ahead and leave that blank. And what you're going to do next is they'll ask for your license number, and since you don't currently have a license, you're just going to click New Business. Okay, so just scroll through. You can type in the name or leave your dealership name blank, and then when it says license number, you just click New Business like I'm showing you right here. Very, very easy to do. And you're going to scroll through here, and you're going to check whether you want the $25,000 or the $100,000, and I'm assuming that you're going to want the $100,000 bond if you're a used motor vehicle dealer. And the next thing you're going to do is put in your phone number and your email address and the address of your dealership, okay, and then your name. And finally, they're going to do a real quick soft credit check on you. You have to put your social security number in there. This soft credit check will not affect your credit score. But remember, you cannot get a bond quote from any company anywhere unless you input your social security number. And then it's going to give you an instantaneous bond quote where you can pay for your bond on the spot. If you want to pay the full amount, you can do that. Or if you want to submit payments on it, it's whatever's going to be convenient for you. And if you've got good credit, I think a $100,000 bond, I'm going to just give a rough estimate here, will cost anywhere from $400 to $600 a year, something like that. And it's really going to be determined, upon your credit score, okay? So then you let them know the date of the bond. And here's what you do. You'll easily be able to, when you purchase your bond, you can just print it up right there. It's a 2-page document like you see right here, okay? So the first thing that you want to do, by the way, I want you to be aware your bond is a 2-page form. So the first thing you want to do is print it up. And this is your first page. This is your actual dealer surety bond, and you have to sign it. I want to remind you, you have to sign your bond. And then the next page is what's called your bond power of attorney. So I want to be very clear, when you're applying for your license, you have to submit your bond and your power of attorney. So a 2-page document that you can download right there, but you do need to make sure that you sign that first page. So once again, you can go to dealertraining.org, just scroll down there to the free Arizona Dealer Surety Bond quote, and hopefully that'll give you a very, very competitive bond quote that I'm hoping is going to save you some money.